Hi, my name's Lisa and I'm a co-founder of Evolve HR.
And my name's Chris and I'm a co-founder of CT19.
And I'm Sarah, the other co-founder of Evolve HR.
Welcome to our podcast, Humanize, lifting the lid on HR and recruitment.
So we've worked together for the last 3 or 4 years in a professional capacity. We decided to get together to share our experiences with our network, invite experts from our respective industry to share theirs. Hopefully people won't find it too serious. It's going to be topical. And I guess some sort of therapy for people. If you could go back 5 years and tell yourself one thing, what would that be?
I've got 3.
You can
okay, I'm sorry. I'm just going to always push the boundaries.
Yeah,
and the first one, and we've talked about it, is recognise the skills that you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
So you start off in a business and you've got 59 hats on, right? You're a marketeer, you're a new business person. You've got to make sure your invoices are out. You've got to sort with your tax. You need to know about branding. There's all the stuff that you need to set up a business, and I think the lesson would be look at what you need and make sure that you bring in that expertise, whether it's short term, long term. You bring in another member of the team to cover off those skills that you don't have. And it's a conversation that Lisa and I have a lot around running the business.
Yeah.
What are the things that I'm great at and she doesn't enjoy as much? What are the things that she's great at and I don't enjoy as much? And it's we're lucky because there's 2 of us. So actually being able to bounce that between ourselves is been incredibly helpful in terms of developing the business. But just leave your ego at the door. It's just not worth it, because you really stunt the business unless you recognise what you're good at and then buy in the expertise that you're not so good at.
And I think actually just on that point, we were told once not to suffocate our business. Because we were trying to just do everything, and what she said to us was, you actually, by doing that, you are suffocating your own business. And we were like, wow,
you have to empower people.
Wow, that's a good piece of advice.
Yeah, absolutely. It's letting go as well. I think sometimes
Which is
you're it's your
harder.
baby, right? And actually letting go of some of that and allowing other people to help you on the journey is important. The second thing is back yourself. Just back yourself. Look, nobody knows how to run a business when they start out, right? And actually, I think if you're really good at what you do, you've got your niche, you know that it's the right product for the market, you really have to jump sometimes. I mean, Lisa and I have probably held the company back a little bit just because we felt like it was too risky. But actually, it's been a worse outcome when we haven't backed ourselves and when we've just gone for it. Hiring people is a great example. And it's a conversation I'm sure you have many a time with clients, which is, when do you hire? Do you wait for the business to come in and then you're running behind the curve because you're trying to recruit someone, or do you recruit ahead and hope that it comes? And that's been a lesson for us. But there's been many decisions where we've just had to jump, and it's been fundamentally the right decision to make. But that was after a year of holding back, I think. And then the third one for me is actually about having a business mentor. So we've had one pretty much right from the beginning, because it's back to point 1, recognizing the skills that you don't have. Our business mentor is incredibly challenging and will question at the decisions that we make in our business, will chivvy us, will chase us, will point us in the right direction, will have a very different view. Again, you don't know what you don't know, but it's what we talk to our clients about all the time. Lisa and I are, we're never salespeople, right? So actually going into a new business environment and drumming up business for our company was something we'd never had to do. So our business mentor's been phenomenal, and we don't always like the meetings we have with him.
Quite often we come away feeling like we've been told off.
We do.
We're like, we're failing.
But
we're failing.
Actually, he picks holes in some of the things.
Everything.
Yeah, absolutely. But it helps us learn, and actually the business wouldn't be where it is today if we didn't have him guiding, pointing, challenging in the background. And I think that would be the third piece of advice that I'd give myself. Make sure you do it.
Yeah. And before I come to you, was it always the plan, I guess question for you actually, so was it always the plan to have a team of people, or when you started, were you thinking this could be a lifestyle business just for you two?
Well, when we first started, it was just us, and I think we thought we would grow it a little bit. But I don't think we ever thought, and we've actually had this conversation with the team recently, we never thought that we would end up being 12 as a business, and sitting there thinking, okay, we're probably going to have to grow a little bit more. I think we always thought it would be maybe 3 or 4 and it would be a really nice little business, but it took us quite a while to hire the first person, and we brought somebody in we'd known and worked with before, so that felt like a really safe kind of addition to our team. But then we've also sat and had the conversation really recently. It's like, okay, this is quite big now. This feels different. We have to do things slightly differently. There's a lot of people in our team that we want to develop and that we would want to support. And how do we do that? And how do we make sure that that happens? How big are we going to get? Like, are we going to be 50?
It's never been a lifestyle business for us, though, has it? We're really ambitious about Evolve and what the company can do and how it can help the founders that we work with. But I mean, we did talk about a very different model in terms of employing people or not. But actually, the thing that's most important to us is our brand and how we practice HR, because we do it really differently. And so the important bit was having permanent employees that would work with us and that we could shape in that brand, in the way that we practice HR. And that's why we've wound up
with a larger employed team. They represent us, they represent Evolve HR. And I think that's what's really important, because we could have had loads of associates that we worked with, and that's always there as an option, but it doesn't quite work for us, because
for us,
I guess there's an element of control.
I think
your brand,
your team dictates your growth, right? Because
100%.
You have to be able to provide growth opportunities for your employees. And therefore, like, and obviously we think about the same things as well. Like, if people want to progress, you have to push the business on, because otherwise they don't have any opportunities to progress and they go elsewhere, and then you're just back to square one. How about you? What would you say? What would you can be 1, 3, 5, 7 things?
100. There's loads. I think reinforce one that Sarah said, which is back yourself. Like 100%. You have to believe in yourself, even if other people don't believe in you, because if you don't, you don't make the right decisions. And I can remember talking to a founder of a business that I was supporting, and we were going for dinner, and I was chatting to him, and he said, and I was talking about it was the hiring, it was the, we need to bring more people in, and I'm not sure when we do it. And he said, back yourself. You have to back yourself. And so that's always resonated, as Sarah said, with us. Gut instinct.
Trust it.
100% trust it, because I know that there's lots of theory out there about, interview and don't trust your gut instinct, look at your data, look at your stats and all that stuff. I get that. There's an objectivity that you need to bring to these things. But for me, your gut instinct is made up of your experience, your knowledge, all of your filters and your intuition. And I think to ignore your intuition is not the right call, and we have at times ignored our gut instinct, and we've ended up in a situation that we kind of probably could see but just didn't think that would happen, and it happened. So I would absolutely now think to myself, if you go to bed at night and something's tweaking you about something, listen to it, explore it, work out what it is that's tweaking you, because there's definitely something there. So that would be one. And then I think also ask for help. So I think sometimes we can be quite proud, and we can see asking for help as a weakness. And I'm sure that there are some cultures where that probably would be seen in business, to ask for help. But I think to sit with a problem for too long in your own head it can be quite disastrous, and you paralyze yourself from making a decision. So you end up with this decision making paralysis. So I think you must ask for help. And I think Sarah and I, for quite a long time, it's just 2 of us, and we have worked quite well with that. That's worked well for us, because we're different, have similar the same values, but we think differently, and we have different ambitions and things like that. So that works perfectly well. But I think we've realised that actually our 2 brains aren't enough now, and we've had to widen that out. And so we've created a broader team, and sometimes just sitting there and going, I don't know the answer to this, can somebody just help me? Just being able to do that. And I think, do it. And I ask the stupidest questions. Like, the girls do laugh at me sometimes, because I do ask the stupidest questions, but I'm all right with that, because I can't answer it. I don't know what the answer is to this, so I just want someone else to help, and it just moves you along. So I think if you don't ask questions and ask for help, importantly, you make yourself stuck. You're just stuck in the moment, and you can't move forward. I think would be mine.
Controversial question, perhaps.
No.
Do you always see eye to eye?
No,
absolutely not.
That's a good thing though, right?
Yeah,
I think it's definitely a good thing.
It makes us, I think we did have some feedback once, didn't we? We'll be super open and honest here.
Yeah.
We had some feedback once from somebody that worked with us that we made them feel quite uncomfortable when we had a debate.
You can't row in front of people. That's not right.
We don't row. We debate.
Okay.
We do.
We feel strongly. We're passionate about things. We don't always agree. But do you know what? From that, we will get something that's a million times better than where we started.
So
every time.
What we're very good at doing is not letting go of it until we've resolved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
dog with a bone.
Yeah, absolutely. Until it's resolved to both of our satisfaction.
Just don't go to bed on an argument, right?
Yeah, we don't really argue.
No, we don't argue. It's not
just debate,
you're wrong most of the time.
Whatever. That's what she likes to think. Yeah. So we definitely don't. But that's good.
I think so.
Because I feel like otherwise you've got groupthink.
Yeah.
And how is that going to help you? What does that do? It doesn't. There's no creativity in groupthink. So yeah, definitely don't always agree.
Cool. When I was internal in recruitment and talent acquisition, what I found frustrating is you were dealing with one agency that might be able to fill a finance role for you, or one agency that would go and help you fill a mechanical engineering role. So my kind of vision when we started was to be like, and it sounds a bit bad, but like a one-stop shop. And so in my head, I would be like the client-facing person, and then I would have a team around us and like someone that specialises in hardware engineering, someone who specialises in software engineering. And it's interesting at the moment, we're actually finding that each of the consultants in our team is now working towards a bit more of a niche. Okay. I know we work with a couple of similar clients, but there's a cellular agriculture is a massive space at the moment. And we've got a couple of people in business who are just actively seeking to win new clients in that space. And I think the feedback is, if you live and breathe something, you spend all day every day talking to those sorts of people,
totally,
you're going to be more well respected and looked at as a bit of an expert. I think jack of all trades in some areas is good, but I think there comes a point where niche is definitely the right way to go.
And you've definitely niched, because you work and your business sits really nicely with our business in terms of biotech and tech. And so we obviously partner with you very regularly with clients, because we're not recruiters. It's not what we do. We would prefer to pass that on to a professional and somebody that we can highly recommend to do that work. So I think niching that and doing that work has definitely built has made our partnership really, really good, because ours is 3. We have those 3 footprints, which is the tech, the biotech and the creative industry. And it is really hard to stay within them, because we've strayed out of them. We have strayed out of them. And currently we've strayed out a little bit in a couple of areas. And we always say to ourselves, well, business is business, so let's take it.
Well, no, hang on. We say if it's interesting and challenging,
we'll do it.
It's going to teach us something new,
we'll do it.
And we absolutely will.
But sometimes I think we've strayed a little bit, and we have been a bit like, that's quite hard, because that's not our area of expertise. I don't know all of the industry, the stuff that's happening in that industry. I don't know what the outside world is talking about the industry, so it has been a bit. So I think keeping within your areas of footprint is really good.
So really interesting what you said there about back in the day when you were managing a team of IT people. You don't have an IT background, no?
Absolutely not.
Interesting, but clearly good with people.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have this in what you do, but in my experience dealing with very technical people, scientists and engineers, so quite often with our clients, we see sometimes the best scientist or most senior scientist becomes a team manager, and
absolutely,
I don't often necessarily think that's the right route for that person. So do you have any examples maybe of like where you've seen that in businesses or something that you can relate to?
We have it every day, don't we? I mean, a lot of the startups that we work with put their best people into a managerial position without really having that conversation with that individual. And that's honestly where the trouble starts with growing and scaling teams. So a lot of what we're having to do is unpicking some of that and realigning with people that actually have a passion for managing a team and managing people. But it's also about introducing the 2 different routes in terms of career. And I know that you have this all the time, which is you don't have to be a manager to get up to the next stage in your career or up the career ladder. Actually, there's a technical route and a specialist route too. So a lot of what we do, honestly, day to day, is unpicking some of those mistakes that founders or CEOs have made. Yeah,
and that could be applied to like any industry. Like I see it in recruitment, like the top billing recruitment consultant ends up managing a team, and actually like that person doesn't enjoy it. They then have responsibility of making sure other people are revenue generating and profitable. Whereas I've worked with a couple of people actually in the past have just said, do you know what? I don't want that. I'm going to look after myself. I know I can hit my number. I'm happy earning what I'm earning.
Yeah, totally. And often people go into those roles and I think they fail. And then they feel that they're a failure, but they're not actually a failure. The environment just wasn't the right environment for them. It hasn't been structured in a supportive way for them to go from like deliverer to manager of people, because managing people is one of the hardest jobs anybody can ever do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think you sit there and you think, I'd just rather be an accountant. I can put some numbers into a column and they're going to stay in the column. It doesn't work with people. You try and approach with somebody and it works. You just think, oh, that works. So you then try and approach with another person and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, what the hell's gone on there then?
And everyone responds differently, right? Like in terms of like a motivational perspective,
100%.
like what motivates one person will demotivate someone else.
So you asked the question about the difference between personnel management as it was, 15, 20 years ago and what it is now. And that's the key.
Yeah.
Which is really thinking about how you motivate a team, how you engage a team, how you move businesses forwards. Whereas before it was turn up, get paid, leave.
Yeah.
Just, the world has changed significantly, especially in HR over the last 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And most of my experience, obviously, with scientists and engineers, like when I see those people progress into line management, do you think like it makes it even more challenging when someone is maybe so... If you're managing a group of very technical people and you're a technical person, do you think it makes that even harder if like someone maybe disagrees with a decision you want to make in terms of how to get to the next milestone, for example?
I think it can. I think from my experience, what happens is when you're technical is the people that you manage expect you to be better and more technical than them. And often that's not the case.
Yeah.
You have a team and you hire a team of absolute experts that sit below you and they fill all the gaps that you as the manager don't have.
Yeah.
That's really hard to navigate at times because those people expect you because they're very technically minded. So I think there's a layered challenge then for somebody that's managing a group of technical people, which makes their job harder.
Yeah, and I was once told, surround yourself with better people and you're
100%,
better, right? Yeah. And I think there's also, like, I definitely see this with some of our startup clients. I feel like we've had people at interview stage, for example, who have been rejected, and I genuinely believe that they've been rejected because the hiring manager is concerned they might be better than them.
100%.
And I'm wondering if that must have a detrimental effect on the business.
Of course. I just think about our business. I would look at every single person that we have in our business and every single one of those does something better than me.
Yeah.
Like without a shadow of a doubt. And and that's why our business has been so successful, because of those people.
Not every one person has every skill that you're looking for in a job. And for us, I think it's, one of our lessons too, right? Just in terms of setting up the business is recognise the skills that you have. Yeah. Recognise the skills you definitively don't have.
Pull them in.
Pull somebody in to help you fill that. And it's the same conversation that we have with our clients, right? Which is, it's a tricky conversation sometimes, especially with a founder or CEO, because not everybody has the skills and ability to run a business across everything from marketing through to new business to tax and finance in the middle. And I think as a company scales, those gaps become even larger. And that's obviously when you guys come in, right? Which is filling some of those gaps. But the challenge is always drop your ego at the door. Make sure that you have a company that can scale and grow with the skills that you need, rather than worrying about a competition with yourself or that it makes you look less.
Yeah, because it doesn't.
No, absolutely.
Doesn't.
And I've seen it before. People are threatened. Someone new arrives and they've got a slightly better PhD from a different university.
Though,
100%,
don't you?
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
There's good recruiters and there's bad recruiters. Why would someone should work with us because we, again, I use that word humanize. I believe we try and partner with our clients properly. We try and humanize the process. It's not a transaction for us. We like to build proper relationships. I'd also go back to my internal talent acquisition days. I'd advise any agency recruiter to go and spend time internally, because when I left my old company, I was told that it was an easy option, and I would strongly disagree. I would actually say that internal recruitment can be harder. You don't have the commercial pressure that you have from a revenue point of view in an agency role, but you can't hide from a hiring manager. So you're sat at your desk, and if you've had an open mechanical engineering role for 3 months, you're getting shouted at, and agencies can hide. If we're in a contingent role and you find a client difficult, you can drift off into the distance. Exactly. Not that we do that, of course, but so I would say my experience of a scaling biotech company, and obviously they're the sorts of companies we work with, I think is invaluable. We can empathize with what's going on. Like, I'm not chasing hiring managers if they haven't reviewed our CV after 24 minutes, because I understand there's
24, is there specifically
24 minutes. So I think, the empathy point of view, understanding, I think the culture piece again, that's a word that's talked about in HR and recruitment a lot, but lots of our lots of our startup clients will disregard people. They could be fantastic from a technical perspective, but if they're not the right cultural fit, they won't hire them.
Mm-hmm.
Some recruiters can find that really frustrating, and they will move on and they'll go and try and work with someone else because they need to make money. I get that, and I know that our team at CT19 absolutely get that as well, because I've kind of drummed that into them from the start.
Just been a great opportunity to sit down and chat, so thank you.
Cool. No, thank you both, and looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, really good. Really enjoyed it. So yeah, crack on for the next one.